Good morning and welcome to Coffee and the Word. If I were to tell you that the chances of Christmas happening the way it had been promised were well over 1 in 1 quadrillion, like impossible odds. And see, I told you that yesterday that when God set up in the garden that there was coming a day when everything was going to change. When enmity between the offspring of woman and of the serpent would crush his head and bruise his heel. And I told you that yesterday. That was in Genesis. Well, from that point on, there are over 108 prophetic words spoken about the coming and the work and the finished work of this Messiah. Over 108 prophecies that he had to check all those boxes. And a mathematician in 1958 did some calculations and came up with the conclusion that in order for one person to have fulfilled only 8 of those, the chances of that happening are 1 in 1 quadrillion, like impossible odds that you can't possibly suggest this. And so God, not only did he promise there's coming a time when I'm going to put in place that which you need so that I can rescue mankind, I'm going to make sure when it happens you know it's him. You see, one of the things I don't think we recognize is throughout history there have been many messianic, um, many who rose up as if they were the promised Messiah, but they didn't check all the boxes. And so God promised, and then He would give evidence. He promised, and then He would give evidence. And what happens in the story of Jesus is throughout history, the Jewish people were always looking for this Messiah, the Messiah that checked all the boxes, this Messiah who would be born of a virgin, which is today's verse in Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14. I want you to listen to what it says. So in Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14, says, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign." I want you to hear that part. The Lord himself will give you a sign. I'm going to make sure you know this is from me. He will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. In Isaiah, 600 plus years before the birth of Jesus, 600 plus years before even the birth of Mary or Joseph, God says to his prophet, I'm going to give you a sign. The Messiah that's coming, God with us, which is what Emmanuel means, a virgin will give birth to him. And that's exactly how the story plays out in Matthew. That's how the story plays out in Luke. The Virgin Mary gives birth to a son. And of course, later we're going to see him in a manger. And there are lots of prophecies that are tied to the same event. And the cool thing is, and the thing I want us all to realize, is that the God that we serve didn't just say, I want you to blindly believe me. The God that we serve said, I am going to send my son to take on the form of a man, to save mankind, but I don't want you to just believe that's going to happen. I'm going to show you. And he began to give what we call prophecies to prophets. And the prophets would write these things down years and years before it ever happened, so that when it happened, people could see and believe. This Christmas season, there's this whole idea that we just need to believe in the impossible. We need to believe in the fantastic. We need to believe in the things that aren't true. And there's a lot of things that we believe that we find out later in life isn't true. There's a lot of things we embrace that we later find out just doesn't have a lot of validity to it. There's a lot of things in life that we struggle with, right? Because we discover truth after we have believed something for so long. Here's the beautiful thing about the Christian message. Here's the beautiful thing about the Christmas message. You're not asked to blindly believe anything. Go back and look. Read what Isaiah wrote. Read what David wrote. Read what many of the other prophets in history wrote before the birth of Jesus ever happened. And I think you'll be surprised to discover that God isn't asking you to blindly believe. He's asking you to believe eyes wide open in the Christmas miracle that is Jesus Christ. Put your faith in him and your trust in him. If you never have, he's worthy of it. God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful day. This has been another edition of Coffee and the Word.